So there are many variables that go into creating an aesthetic physique, and one of the most commonly overlooked variables is going to come down to your posture. So today we are going to fix one of the most common postural imbalances that I see out there. This postural imbalance, if left untreated, will have negative implications on your physical capabilities, your aesthetic performance, and also your mental performance. Before we dive in, I want to lend a big thank you to our sponsors for today's video, Squarespace. We'll touch more on that later, but for right now, let's dive into posture. I honestly cannot stress enough the importance of good posture for not only improving your physical capabilities, but also from a mental perspective. Improving your posture will do wonders for your confidence, and it's going to be a cornerstone for a well-balanced physique. You need to understand that if you are building up a good body, a good physique on top of a shit foundation, there's only so far that you can actually take it. Any good structure is built from the ground up, and your foundation is that ground that you lay before you set that structure. So if there's one thing that you could do to drastically improve your aesthetic and athletic performance, it's by focusing on correcting certain imbalances that you may have within your own posture. And the big focus for today is going to be one of the most common ones, the anterior pelvic tilt. For the most part, that is where your buttock sticks far out back towards you, and as such, it leaves you with this little protruding stomach, which is not something that anyone wants to deal with. Now, I used to actually deal with this issue myself, and it took me a little while to get it, but with some concrete steps, you'll be able to solve it yourself. In order to correct this imbalance, we need to understand how this happened and work backwards. So any kind of imbalance is going to occur from certain muscles being either too strong or either muscles being too weak. When your muscles get overused and overworked, they build up this strength and usually become tight. And that tightness usually pulls your joints towards a certain area. These tight muscles are being overworked, and there's muscles that are being underworked. So these are the weaker, looser muscles that just have no pull on your body. As such, you develop these postural tendencies. A primary example of this would be rounded shoulders. So if your chest and anterior deltoid are too strong, they are going to be pulling yourself forward, and as such, you're going to develop rounded shoulders. Converse to that, your rear delt, your mid traps are going to be too weak, and as such, cannot straighten yourself out. So the example for today's video is going to be the anterior pelvic tilt. Now, the way to go about fixing these is identifying what muscles are strong and what muscles are weak. And if you think about the postural position you're stuck in with the anterior pelvic tilt, it can be very easy to understand what ways to go about solving them. So the muscles that are going to be overworked and therefore tight within the anterior pelvic tilt is going to be your adductors and your lower back, and that is why there is a aggressive arch within that lower back. Now, converse to that, the muscles that are going to be weak are going to be your glutes and your actual core, your midsection, your abs, the six pack, which is a terrible idea because there's no hope in hell for you to actually achieve a six-pack with this anterior pelvic tilt going on. It means there's absolute no strength within there, and every other muscle is accounting for that lack of strength. So in order to fix this, what you need to do is stretch out your adductors and your lower back, and then also strengthen your core and your glutes. And one of the best exercises to go about doing this is going to be the plank, because when you think about the plank done correctly, this will very, very largely fix this issue. Within a plank, the entire idea is to create a lot of flexion within your abs and your glutes. So you should be squeezing down in your glutes, really contracting there, and that's going to tuck your belly underneath, and then also contracting your core to keep everything tight and straight. As opposed to a common way that a lot of people do the plank, which is in an anterior pelvic tilt position, and that's just making the matter so much worse. So that is the most primary exercise that you will want to focus on. From there, you want to add in one extra glute and one extra ab exercise, and the ab exercise I'm going to throw in with you is going to be a basic cable crunch. Now, why we're going with a crunch as opposed to a leg raise is because within a leg raise, the adductors can begin to take over a little bit. And as they are the already overworked muscle, you don't want to continuously bang them out. Secondly, we're going to do a glute exercise, and the glute exercise we're going to go with is a hip thrust. So this is a very basic exercise to really target within your glutes, and you can do this from home. So they are the three exercises you're definitely going to want to nail down pat in order to start to fix those weaker muscles. Now, you want to do that 2 to 3 times a week, just 3 to 4 sets each, and throw them in at the end of your workouts, or do them first thing in the morning and at night. And make sure you stay consistent with it, because you didn't get to that postural imbalance overnight, so you can't expect it to be fixed overnight. Make sure you stay consistent with it until the results start to improve. Alongside strengthening those weaker muscles, we need to lengthen and stretch out those strong, tight muscles, and that's going to be your adductors and your lower back. So a good adductor stretch for this is just to be doing a proper lunge stretch. You want to get into a kneeling lunge position and have your back leg stretched out as far as you possibly could. Now, whilst in this position, what you need to do is think contract abs, think contract glutes, because they are the weak muscles that are really being underworked. Now, if you do this, but then you have that arch back as opposed to really strengthening that glute and that midsection, then you're just making matters worse. So make sure you do it properly. Make sure you only stretch it out as far as you can with that proper contraction within the glutes and abs in mind. You want to hit each leg of this 30 seconds at least every single day. Then for the lower back, we're going to approach this with a child's pose. So for this, you're just going to get into a fetal kind of position, stretch your arms overhead, and we're going to hold that for, again, 30 seconds, multiple times per day if you can. Definitely before you go to bed, if you can in the morning again. And that is it, guys. If you nail those specific things down over a prolonged period of time, it will start to improve. Just make sure you keep an eye on your physique, all right? Because you can't let it get out of whack. If you're sitting in a chair, don't arch your back, don't lean over. Focus on fixing these over a long period of time and making sure it's sustainable for yourself. Because once you address them, it's very easy to fix, but then it's very easy to go back into those negative habits of creating that postural imbalance. So make sure you stay aware of that actual issue. And that is the fix of the anterior pelvic tilt. Now, before we leave, guys, I just wanted to mention a quick bit about our sponsor of today's video, Squarespace. So Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that will allow you to build a beautiful website for yourself. There are many templates to choose from that are very user-friendly, and you can customize them in any possible way that you actually want to. So you won't end up having your website look identical to anyone else's, because you can put your own flavor towards it. Now, if you're a PT or anyone who needs to deal with bookings, then this is perfect for you, because there is an inbuilt system that allows you to take on appointments, allows clients to see exactly what times are available, and it's very easy for you to set up. So for all your websiting needs, head to squarespace.com and start up now with a free trial. And when you're ready to launch your website, you can come back, go to squarespace.com, Fraser Wilson, or use my code Fraser Wilson for 10% off your first purchase. That is all for right now, guys. I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, drop it a like, comment down below anything you want to see from me. Subscribe if you're new here, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.